Hey everybody, this is Manadog here with another Starcraft Underground League Season 2 cast. This is the semifinals. I have Keen from Team Savage against Navane from Team Unhinged, and the first game is going to be on Fighting Spirit, so let's jump into it. Okay, so spawning in the top left of Fighting Spirit, we have the pink Zerg, Keen, and then spawning in the bottom left, we have the sort of white-pink color Protoss, Navane. I would say between these two players, Navane is very macro-oriented. You're probably just going to see, he likes to play Seralus, so that's probably what you'll see from him in these games. Yeah, he kind of just likes to do what he does, and he's a very solid macro player that likes to get to the late. And then Keen is more of a wild card. I would say he's kind of an aggressive player, but he's definitely got a lot of mechanical skill to show off, so it suits him. So far, nothing really out of the ordinary happening. That is a pretty fat. Okay, maybe we're just scouting for something, some sort of early wings. I don't know it would be so fast. Yeah, I was gonna say that seemed like a pylon position that would block our Nexus. So he cancels that. Probably going to eventually be a forge opening if he's scouting this way. And over on Keen's side, we have just the standard overpool, it looks like. Playing very safe, scouting in the right direction to scout first. Navane is just, oh, we actually have a gate first. This is kind of surprising for him. I think he's primarily a forge first player, but he's actually going a 2-gate in this instance. So maybe he feels like Keen is a strong opponent, and he wants to be able to put out some kind of pressure. Because anytime I've ever seen Navane play, I know he's more of a fan of the Forge First and then Seralus style. You know, I think this actually explains why he first put the pylon here, is because he was just going to 2-gate and he wasn't thinking about it. Then he thought better of it. He thought, well, you know, if this game goes a little bit longer, I want to at least be able to build the Nexus here after the fact. Yep, so checking over what Keen's doing. His pool is finished. Very standard. He's starting off with 2 pairs of wings. He's got his second hatchery down. Let's see. Oh, we actually have 3 pairs of wings, so he's going aggressive here, and he's taking out an early gas. So the very standard thing to do here would be to take a 3rd hatchery faster and get this gas a little bit later. But it looks like he wants to play aggressively. Maybe he's going to open into like a 2-hatch build. Oh, you know what? Maybe he just scouted the 2-gate. And I just missed it. So when you have a 2-gate like this, if you scout it very early, the 3rd hatchery can actually be kind of a liability. So what you can very commonly do as Zergs, you can just play on 2 bases, and you still want the larva from the 3rd hatch, but you maybe just place it like here instead, so you can use it to SimCity. And then you primarily just need to pump wings, which it looks like that's what Keen's doing. He's also mining some gas. He's probably going to get speed with this ASAP. And I think you kind of want to delay these fights or try to isolate zealots when you can. Yeah, so he's just getting vision. He's bringing back this overlord so you can see where the zealots are camping out. Sending the other one down, see incoming zealots, maybe see if Navane tries to transition into some kind of tech. He's got a few idle probes here, which is kind of a big deal because he's only got 15 total. So we have wings chasing these down. The first engagement is like pretty huge in this build order matchup, I feel like, because it can be very hard to kind of like get back up on the numbers once you're down. Keen just running through, bringing the pressure directly to Navane with a nice counter. Navane was getting gas behind this, so maybe he had some sort of another 1-base build he was going to do. I know that New Ocean likes to play very similar to this, do this like sort of blocking the front with the 2 gates. You can kind of create situations where the gaps are not very big here. So Keen is just continuing to flood wings. He's got his speed, it's just about done. There's 2 hatcheries up, he's just flooding. He's basically drawing Navane's attention with his zealots into the main while he sends more. Fight any zealots that pop out, he can fight these gates, maybe take out this pylon, depower the gates. If he gets this pylon, that essentially ends the game. If Navane doesn't have a lot of zealots at the time, although an alternative to that is also just killing the gates. So Keen just continuing to pump out zealots. I think he's in a pretty good position at this point. You know, once you run out of the production with 2 gate, there's really not much else place to go with it. Yep, so he's just flooding the wings. He's again drawing Keen to the base, so he's even targeting the Nexus, so Navane has to respond to this while he kills the other gateway. I think this sort of build is like not really in Navane's kind of comfort zone, so we'll have to see if he changes it up for the next one. This is a rough position that he's in for this one. Trying to rebuild the gateways, don't know how possible that is. Maybe if you're just trying to bank on the efficiency here, but you literally cannot, Navane literally cannot make these zealots again now, so yeah, he has no production. And he's pretty dead here. Keen not even bothering to fight the probes, is just gonna take out the Nexus and be done with it. And Navane calls it there. So that is 1-0 for Keen. So let's transition over to game 2. Okay, game 2 is going to be on Polestar. Let's load this up. Alright, so we have Keen against Navane. We are on map 2. This will be Polestar. Let's switch on over. Okay, spawning in the top right, we have the Olive Protoss. Yeah, I spelled Polestar right. We have the Olive Protoss as Navane. And in the top left, we have the White Zerg this time as Keen. So game 1 was a very quick game. Navane tried to 2-gate, which I know for a fact is kind of out of his comfort zone. He's more like the Forge FE into Seralus player, but I think he tried to kind of catch Keen. Keen scouted it fairly quickly, just flooded lings, and I think he was just more comfortable in that situation than Navane was, and just knew what to do with his lings better. So we'll see if Navane tries something different here. He's sending out the first probe. I would be shocked if we don't see a Forge build this time. Yeah, getting ready to put the pylon down. There it is. Yeah, definitely. I know I just said it, but I would be completely shocked if we don't see a Forge put right there. So Keen really has no reason to do anything other than the overpool again. He kind of won the first game without too much trouble, so just stick with what's safe, you know? But Navane is going to get the first scout here, and Keen will also get the first scout with his first Overlord, so both players are going to have a strong idea of what the other's doing. Nothing crazy happening here. Navane may be deciding if he can go Nexus first. I'm not sure here. This Forge should be placed. Not sure what we're delaying for. Okay. So, okay, we're just maybe doing kind of a later Forge. Yeah. Alright, well, I think these cannons will still probably be in time. Maybe he has this mapped out better than I do. Oh, apologies for the rain outside. Okay, we are taking a second hatchery. Saw the probe there, didn't want to mess with it. I think this was maybe, I missed it, but I think this may have been a drone that he sent out earlier. And so he kind of did this in a sneaky way, where Navane doesn't necessarily know that that drone even went past to take another hatchery. But we have our cannon started. This is a short rush distance map, but typically I think the rule is that if the cannon is started before the lings pop, you're fine. And he's chasing the probe down anyway. Keen has no way to know that this was kind of a slower Forge. We just have the Nexus coming down, caught the probe, so he's going to be, Navane's going to be pretty blind. Keen though, just taking the third hatchery. He's going to get his gas, so a more standard game from him this time. But the first game's weirdness was more of a response to what Navane was doing anyway. So we're going to hunt down this probe a little bit. One lane chasing down, just got our gas coming, hatchery's on the way. Keen just setting up for a very normal game, plugging into gas. Navane just needs to make probes. You're probably going to see the first gas make a lair here. Navane really doesn't still have much in the way of vision in terms of what Keen is doing, but as far as I can tell, this is pretty standard. Oh, there we have our first deviation from what I thought was going on. This looks like we have a 973 coming. As I said in the first game though, Keen is, I think, kind of an aggressive player. He's good at it, so there's no reason not to do something like this. Obviously 973, always a favorite for a reason, and I don't think Keen would know this, but I know that Navane kind of has some trouble with 973. In UPL, I know that's kind of the MO on him from the Zorgs there. So Navane has been very blind. He has not been able to get a probe into Keen's vein at all. And Keen is doing a good job of just sort of zoning out any probes that have come. And now we have a few zealots that'll be able to hit harder. Actually, okay, this is, with micro I think you can win this, but this is probably still a nicer fight for Protoss. Solid control. Well, no, actually that's pretty rough. It's pretty injured. Okay, so I just don't know what I'm talking about. These lanes clean that up pretty well. But Navane, crucially, still has no idea that Hydras are on the way, and Hydra speed is almost done. I think what we're going to see here is that Navane is going to find out about this 973 as the first Hydras show up. But he is doing what is his standard. He's getting the Citadel, he's going to put up his gateways, he's going for Seralus. And this is kind of a weakness of this build. When you play Seralus, unless you can get a probe or a zealot in, you basically have no vision, you have no Corsair to scout. So you can get surprised by something like this, and I think that's what is about to happen. It's not like Keen hasn't made any lanes, so he hasn't gotten speed though, so I guess it's possible that Navane noticed that these lanes didn't have speed, and maybe he's taken note of that, but we have the Hydras coming and no cannons are started. So this bust is about to start, and it's going to be pretty scary. Yeah. I think this is going to be a pretty cut and dry situation where just too many Hydras, not enough cannons. Now we're going to learn about it. That was like the oh shit moment. Too late to do this though. I think, yeah, we don't even need to be fighting that one. We can easily just pick this off. It'd also be pretty huge playing Seralus to lose the +1. Just focus incoming cannons now. Unfortunately for Navane, I think he was pretty caught off guard by this. This is probably going to be it. Yeah, this is already looking pretty unholdable. And Navane calls it, so that is the 2-0 for Keen. So thanks for watching, everybody.